Hello everybody, Thomas here and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday, March the 6th, and time once again, you got it for the mailbag, and we have a huge one this week. Well over a dozen items, dozen packages, more than one item in some of these packages, so I want to try to get through these fairly efficiently. Only going to do a couple of very quick announcements. First off, I understand that there are only about 2 weeks left if you want to get in your nominations for this year's Hugos. Whether you are a supporting or attending member of Worldcon 75 in Helsinki, you might want to get on that. And in other award news, our awards, you know, the important ones, the BooktubeSFF Awards this week, we have started our read-alongs and our giveaways for March. And I will leave the link below to where you can go ahead and sign yourself up and participate in some of these giveaways. Maybe win yourself some books, copies of the nominated works, as it were. So go and check those out. Going to be some more giveaways announced this coming week. So it's a lot of fun to be working with the publishers on this, and going to be good times. So go check that out. And otherwise, let me think. No, nothing else. Nothing else I can think of. So let us get into this one, shall we? Because, like I said, it's a huge haul. Okay, and starting out, this time we have what feels like a little hardcover from Random Penguin. Okay, well this is certainly something new. It's a book called Blood Rose Rebellion. The author is Rosalind Eves, and it announces itself as the first book in a thrilling new YA series. A magical tale unlike anything you've read before, says. One advanced review, let's see. What if your entire worth was determined by your blood? The exhilarating launch of the Blood Rose Rebellion series. First one here comes out March 28th. Let's see, follows 16-year-old Anna Arden, who is barred from society due to a defect of her blood. What could that be a metaphor for? Though her family is part of the Luminate, powerful users of magic in 19th century London society, she herself is barren, unable to perform the simplest spells. After inadvertently disrupting her sister's debutante spells, Anna finds herself exiled to her family's home in Hungary. Bit harsh. Once there, she discovers that nothing is quite as it seems, certainly not the people around her, from her aloof cousin Noemi to the fierce and handsome gypsy Gabor. Okay. Not the society she's known all her life, for discontent with the Luminate is sweeping the land, and not her lack of magic. Isolated from the only world she cares about, Anna still can't seem to stop herself from breaking spells. So she's apparently like this magical bull in a china shop. She wrecks everything. As rebellion erupts across the region, Anna's unique ability becomes the catalyst everyone is seeking, the binding that holds all magic in place. Okay, blah, blah, it goes on like that. Got it. All right then, high-stakes magic and romance. Book 2 will continue the adventure next spring. Rosalind Eves. Blood Rose Rebellion comes out March the 28th. One thing gives me a bit of concern. The word gypsy is commonly considered a racial slur, an ethnic slur against the Roma people, the Romani people. And I'm a little bit concerned about how that representation might play out in this book, but we will see. I mean, could just be, you know, this sell sheet. And the novel itself could be perfectly fine. So I don't want to prejudge anything. But anyway, Blood Rose Rebellion for you YA folks, like I said, March 28th. And next up we have a book that's already out, but this was a request that I put in for the physical copy. I usually get my Tor.com novellas in digital form, but they were very, very nice to send me this physical version of Binti Home, the sequel to Binti. This came out actually at the end of January, and I'm behind on reviewing it, but oh boy. Very excited because Binti, of course, the award-winning best novella of 2015. I thought probably the best published work of science fiction in 2015, and this is continuing Binti's saga away from home as she travels away from her people. I guess now she is on her way back, and the third one, because this is a trilogy of novellas, will be out later this year. And what I'm hoping Tor.com will do is when all three of them are out, there will be a nice hardcover bind-up of all three, and then you can read them in full. But Binti Home, look for a review very soonish from me by Nydia Okorafor. And this one comes from Harper Collins, so probably a Voyager title. Well, all right, this is an epic fantasy called The Bones of the Earth. The author is Rachel Dunn, and this is actually the second, apparently, in a trilogy or a series. First book was called In the Shadow of the Gods, and I only ever got that one as an e-arc And so this one they've sent me the Dead Tree version. But like I said, this comes out June 27th, and the way it is described, because I haven't read them yet, but it says 3 years ago, Rachel Dunn was chosen from a pool of more than 10,000 applicants as one of 5 semifinalists in the Sci-Fi Fantasy division of Amazon's annual Breakthrough Novel Award. Her first novel went on to be called a must-have for fans of dark fantasy by author Michael Fletcher, and now Rachel is back with the highly anticipated second novel in her breathtaking dark epic fantasy trilogy, the Bound Gods series. Okay, so there you go. And like I said, this one, Book 2, comes out June 27th. In the Shadow of the Gods, obviously, is already out. To win the coming battle for control of the world and the mortals who dwell in it, the cunning priest Joros secretly assembled a team of powerful fighters. Skal, a lost and damaged swordsman from the north. Vatri, a scarred priestess who claims to see the future in her fires. Andir, a drug-addled mage wandering between sanity and madness. And Rora and Arrow, a pair of twins who have secretly survived beyond the reach of the law. So basically sounds like every D&D party out there. But the war is only beginning for these disparate warriors, and victory is far from certain when the enemy is a pair of vengeful gods. And so on and so forth, it goes on like that. So, as you see, that kind of good old traditional sword-swinging epic fantasy, but the sequel, Bones of the Earth, comes out from Rachel Dunn, June the 27th. Let me know what you think in the comments. And this next one is also from Harper Voyager. This is The Malice by Peter Newman. It is the sequel to The Vagrant. Second in his series, which is described as Mad Max meets Stephen King's The Gunslinger meets The Book of Eli. So very dark, very apocalyptic-looking fantasy. I love the cover on this one, by the way. The US is running about a year behind the UK in the publication of all these. So this sequel comes out here tomorrow, March the 7th, The Malice. And The Vagrant comes before us. As I understand, the folks who have read and reviewed The Vagrant seem to think very highly of it, and I have it sitting over there, so could be binge time, all right? But anyway, the Malice in the US tomorrow, March 7th, from Harper Voyager. Alrighty then, let's move on to something a little chunkier. Oh, this one could be a Saga Press title. I was incorrect about that. It is 2 Saga Press titles, and the first of these is the finished copy of Phantom Pains. This is the sequel to Michelle Baker's Borderline, second book in the Arcadia Project series. Definitely binge time on these because Borderline has made all the best of lists and is favored to possibly be an awards finalist this year in either the Hugo or the Nebulous. So Phantom Pains comes out, had to sneak a peek, March the 21st. Very excited about this. Let's have a look. 4 months ago, Millie left the Arcadia Project. Oh, okay, spoiler-roos, right, on the blurb, so don't want to read any more of that. But if you've read this, if you've read Borderline and you've been waiting for this, you don't have much longer to wait. March the 21st from Saga. And here's another one I've kind of been looking forward to, the second in this space opera series by Mike Brooks. First one was called Dark Run, and the second one is called Dark Sky, and it comes out July 11th here in the US. Again, I think this is one of those that's already been out in the UK. What can I say about it that won't spoil the whole show? Well, it just says, in the sequel to the thrilling Dark Run, Captain Ichabod Drift, I like that, and his Keiko crew sign on for a new smuggling job that soon goes south when they are separated and caught up in a dangerous civil war. Hate when that happens. But anyway, Dark Sky comes out July 11th from Saga. Actually moving through these at a pretty good clip. So let's, okay, it's another one from Harper. Let's see. Okay then, this one looks like it could be kind of interesting. Definitely something different. This is a mass market paperback from Harper Voyager. It is a book called Prophets of the Ghost Ants. The author is Clark Thomas Carlton. Clark Thomas Carlton. There it is, Thomas. Well done. And this appears to be the first volume in something he calls the Fantasy series, which is just too cute. So, well, let's see what it's all about then. Don't get too many ant fantasies, I will grant you. Explores a world in which food, weapons, clothing, art, even religious beliefs are derived from humankind's profound intertwining with the insect world. In a savage landscape where humans have evolved to the size of insects, I wouldn't necessarily think that's evolution, but anyway, they cannot hope to dominate. Ceaselessly, humans are stalked by night wasps, lair spiders, and marauder fleas. And just as sinister, men are still men. Corrupt elites ruthlessly enforce a rigid caste system. Duplicitous clergymen and power-mongering royalty wage pointless wars for their own glory. Fantasies of a better life and a better world serve only to torment those who dare to dream. Wow. One so tormented is a half-breed slave named Anand, a dung collector who has known nothing but squalor and abuse. Anand wants to lead his people against a genocidal army who fight atop fearsome translucent ghost ants. But to his horror, Anand learns that this merciless enemy is led by someone from his own family, a religious zealot bent on the conversion of all non-believers or their extermination. A mix of Adrian Tchaikovsky's Shadows of the Apt, Catherine Addison's The Goblin Emperor, and Philip Pullman's The Golden Compass, this is a powerful new addition to the genre. Not gonna lie, doesn't quite sound like anything specifically I have heard of before. I mean, it sounds like it deals with familiar themes, but he's definitely concocted a different kind of a tale around them. Sounds like something that Studio Ghibli might do in a dark mood. But yeah, and if you don't like bugs, this one could quite possibly be very triggering. But I'll give it to him on points for originality there. Prophets of the Ghost Ants. I like the idea of ghost ants. Let me know in the comments. Really, that's like a big old 600-page epic there. So, okay, what is this little thing here? Disney books. Disney books, okay. Just been starting to get some things from Disney, but not a lot of things, so. Okay, well, let's keep going with the entomological theme, shall we? This looks to be, I don't know if this is a middle grade or even younger than that. Yeah, it looks to be middle grade, but I don't really review middle grade that much, but this one looks kind of fun and sinister. It's called Mutant Mantis Lunch Ladies. And I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it has this sort of lenticular cover where the lunch lady turns into a scary mantis. Okay, well, comes out tomorrow. Funny, action-packed, fast-paced adventure, which will keep readers glued to the page. Best friends Carlos and Benny have to find out why the lunch ladies have been acting strangely. And getting caught up in some buggy weirdness, only this silly, sassy duo can hope to bug out in this stellar second book in the Monster Town mystery series. All right, needless to say, I've not received the first one. The author is Bruce Hale. This appears to be, you know, like some very Goosebumps influenced, that kind of a kid's book. All right, not really my thing, but you know, if it's your thing, or if you know, if you got kids in your life for whom this would be a thing, then, you know, give them some Mutant Mantis Lunch Ladies. But this comes out tomorrow from Disney Hyperion. Ah, that was cute. Let's move on, shall we? We have oh, this is another Harper. Boy, big week for Harper this week. All right, this one looks pretty nice. This is an arc for a book called The Prey of Gods. The author is Nicky Drayden. June the 13th from Harper Voyager, and what it says is, acclaimed short story writer Nicky Drayden weaves together sci-fi, fantasy, and dark humor in a fantastically diverse, boundary-challenging debut. Let's see, heralding a fresh editorial direction and an eye towards author and content diversity, Harper Voyager is proud to announce publication of acclaimed short story writer Nicky Drayden's debut novel, The Prey of Gods. All right. Set 50 years in the future, The Prey of Gods takes place in South Africa, where things are looking up. Personal robots make life easier for the working class. The government is harnessing renewable energy to provide infrastructure for the poor. In the bustling coastal town of Port Elizabeth, the economy is booming thanks to the genetic engineering industry, which has found a welcome home there. But, as with all things, there are quite a few negatives to balance out all these improvements. A new hallucinogenic drug is sweeping the country, an AI uprising is starting, and the ubiquitous personal robots everyone relies on are right at the forefront. An ancient demigoddess, hell-bent on regaining her former status, is preying on the blood and sweat, but mostly blood of every human she encounters. Okay, that would be bad. It's up to a young Zulu girl, powerful enough to destroy her entire township, a queer teen plagued with the ability to control minds, a pop diva with serious daddy issues, and a politician with even more serious mommy issues to band together to ensure there's a future left to worry about. That sounds fun. And it goes on to say that the story is inspired by the time that Nicky Drayden spent in South Africa during her college years. So her goal was to make it deeply immersive. Neat. And she's had quite a lot of short fiction sales, and this is, oh, she's from Austin. All right. Comes out June the 13th. Let me know in the comments. She's from Austin. Let the Armadillicon people know about that. Whether they can extend her an invitation. Anyway, this big old thing is a box from the Hachette Group. Probably Orbit. Let's see what we got. Well then, a couple of big titles from Orbit, and some of these need no introduction or very little introduction. As you see, Sins of Empire, Brian McClellan. This is the first book in Gods of Blood and Powder, which, as you probably know, is the follow-up trilogy now to his Powder Mage Flintlock fantasy series, and Sins of Empire is out right now. That's pretty exciting stuff. Let's have a look. A world on the cusp of a new age, the young nation of Fatrasta. It's a frontier destination for criminals, fortune hunters, rebels, brave settlers, and sorcerers seeking relics of the past. Only the iron will of the Lady Chancellor and her secret police hold the capital city together. And so, as you know, peace can't possibly last. But Sins of Empire, I guess now available from Orbit. And next up we have Kings of the Wild. The author is Nicholas Eames. This is a debut novel, and one I've been looking forward to because the reviews have been coming in going, whoa, pleasant surprise this. But as you see, this appears to be a rollicking, page-turning, edge-of-your-seat road trip of a book, it says. Let's see, it's very highly thought of by guys like Sebastian D. Castell and John Gwynne. It says, glory never gets old. Clay Cooper and his band were once the best of the best, the most feared and renowned crew of mercenaries this side of the Heartwild. Their glory days long past, the mercs have grown apart and grown old, fat, and drunk, or a combination of the three. Then an ex-bandmate turns up at Clay's door with a plea for help, the kind of mission that only the very brave or the very stupid would sign up for. It's time to get the band back together. I understand this is every bit as fun as it sounds, so I'm looking forward to getting into it. But Kings of the Wild is now available from Orbit by Nicholas Eames. Let me know in the comments. Okay, next up, we have a big envelope from Skyhorse Publishing. Skyhorse handles Titan books, Nightshade books, imprints like that. Yes, it is 2 titles from Nightshade. I'm very happy to have them too, especially this first one. This is Infinity Engine. This is the 3rd and final volume in the Transformation trilogy. This is Neil Asher's new space opera trilogy that is set in his Polity universe. So I'm very, very excited. It's been far too long since I've read this kind of science fiction, and I've really been jonesing for it. And now all 3 of them are out, so I think binge time. First 2 books were Dark Intelligence and War Factory. It's about a rogue AI, Penny Royal. And yeah, it has apparently been wreaking all sorts of havoc, and it's taken an entire trilogy to deal with it. But anyway, signature space opera from Neil Asher. Breakneck pacing, high-tech science, bizarre alien creatures, and gritty, dangerous, far-future worlds. The high-caliber complexity of the Polity universe and characters put the Transformation series and Asher on the same plane as Ian Banks, Alistair Reynolds, and Ian McCauley. Mind-bending tech, creatures, and action generate a hot-blooded plot overlaid with a smart coolness of writing that has gained Neil Asher recognition in the SFF community as one of the strongest space opera authors. Okay, and so this final volume comes out in the US from Nightshade on March 21st. And next up we have a book called The Weight of the World. The author is Tom Toner, and this is the sequel to a book called Promise of the Child, which I have in my Endless TBR mountain. This one comes out, or it's actually already come out. This is volume 2 of something called the Amaranthine Spectrum. And let's see, it's described as the purest example of space opera we've seen in some time by the Barnes & Noble blog. Challenging, ambitious, and rewarding, and it's impossible not to admire Toner's wild imagination and carefully constructed world. It's in the provinces of the Old World. The giant Elatane's War of Liberation has come to an impasse, leaving the wicked monarchy of the First in possession of the throne. So, sounds very much like epic fantasy tropes, but in a far future space opera setting, you know, which we've seen done before, but that's all right. But yeah, this one's been out for about a month now, and I'll be honest, I did get, not long ago, about a month or so ago, I got an email from Tom Toner, who's kind of fishing for some more review attention for his books, and, you know, which is fine. Happy to give it to him, but yeah, I would like to read these. You know, again, like I said, it's been too long since I've had an opportunity to read this kind of SF. I mean, I've recently read some, you know, books like Nine Fox Gambit and Six Wakes and New John Scalzi and stuff like that, so I've been easing back into it, and it feels really, really good, so I'm ready for more. But anyway, yes, Tom Toner, The Weight of the World, sequel to The Promise of the Child, is now available from Nightshade Books. And moving on down the line, we're getting close to the bottom, but here we have one. Looks like it's from Pyre, Prometheus Books. And it is. This is Black City Demon. This comes out March the 14th. It is the sequel to Black City Saints, a Prohibition-era sort of urban fantasy, as it were, historical urban fantasy set in Prohibition Chicago, which combines action, mystery, and romance against a backdrop of gangland wars beset by threat of supernatural horror. Yeah, again, definitely what the list of stuff that I'm desperate to get caught up on and read is just grows and grows and grows and never seems to get smaller. But yeah, let me know about this in the comments. I love the idea of this. This is, well, it's not deco punk, but it's set in that similar milieu, the 1920s. Lots of untapped potential in the Roaring '20s for more fantasy and more weird fiction, fantastic fiction generally. So yeah, Black City Demon comes out from Pyre on the 14th of March by Richard Knack. Let me know in the comments. And it looks like the rest of these are some Simon & Schuster packages? Yeah, it looks like, well, but anyway, this one feels like a big fat hardcover. So let's see what this is. Oh, this is nice to have. This is the finished copy, then, of Book Burners. This is a shared world set of stories that were originally published by Serial Box in serialized form. And basically it's a concept that multiple authors contribute to. And so this one was created by Max Gladstone and with contributions by Margaret Dunlap, Mur Lafferty, and Brian Francis Slattery. There we are. Previously released serially online by revolutionary publisher Serial Box. Book Burners features a secret team of agents that hunts down dangerous books containing deadly magic. And so now this is a bind-up of the whole serial. This came out from Saga on January 31st. In Detective Sal Brooks's world, magic is real and hungry. It's trapped in ancient texts and artifacts, and only a few who discover it survive to fight back. Sal is a survivor. She joins a Vatican-backed Black Ops anti-magic squad, Team 3 of the Societas Librorum Occultorum. And together they stand between humanity and the magical apocalypse. Some call them the Book Burners. They don't like the label. Sounds more fun every time I read about it. So let me know in the comments. Book Burners are now available, complete, in a big bind-up edition from Saga Press. And there you have it, everybody. Like I said, lots to choose from this week, so you know the drill. Light up these comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you would like to see me prioritize for review. Also, if you enjoyed watching, please leave a like, share the video with all your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. You can also support the channel at its TeePublic store and at my Patreon. And I want to send out a big hello and thank you, as always, to my initial batch of patrons. People on my Patreon got to watch this mailbag yesterday on Sunday. That's a perk. If you join the Patreon, Mailbag Monday one day early. And otherwise, I want to thank you all so much for your support of the channel. Thanks for watching, and until I see you lovely people next time, happy reading.